believe that we have to do more to further enhance and deepening our cooperation. Our cooperation on a political level is more than excellent. The relationship between His Excellency President Sisi and his brother, His Excellency President Ramaphosa, is more than excellent. They are in regular contacts, regular consultations on different issues of our mutual interest, including in Africa and the African Union, including the situation in Gaza, the Palestinian cause, and here we have to command the principled positions by South Africa. But when it comes to trade, investment, and the economic relationship, I think we have to do more and more in order to meet and match the aspirations of our two great peoples. We need to do more. We have to increase trade volume. We have to increase Egyptian investment in South Africa and South African investment in Egypt. And we have to reinforce South-South cooperation and Africa solidarity, because as we are representing two great nations, two big economies in Africa, we have responsibilities for promoting intra-Africa trade and investment, and of course South-South cooperation for the benefits of all African people of our beloved continent. I believe that the sky is the limit for our cooperation.
Egypt has been playing a very prominent role in trying to ensure that there's peace in the Middle East, particularly when you look at the Palestine question. Where are we with the Palestine matter, particularly Gaza? Is the peace holding? What needs to be done to be able to say now we have a real permanent peace?
Well, we hope so. We are pushing for that. We need the existing ceasefire to be sustainable and, of course, to have, a more stable political process in our neighborhood. As you know, the Palestinian cause is the core of the conflict in the Middle East. Without solving this problem, I believe that there is no peace or security in the region, and including for Israel and for all countries in the region. So without addressing the legitimate aspirations of the Palestinians to have their inalienable rights of self-determination and having their own independent Palestinian state on their homeland, on the West Bank, in Gaza, in the West Bank, including in East Jerusalem, in the borders of the 4th of June 1967, with East Jerusalem as its capital. This is the only solution for this problem in our neighborhood. For the current situation, it's true that we are much better than before. After 2 years of Israeli aggressions on civilians in Gaza, I believe that now we have a ceasefire. It is true, it's still fragile, but we have to, make it sustainable. And that's why we are pushing for the urgent implementation of the Security Council resolution on the ground. It's true that the resolution is not ideal, but this is the best we have for the time being in order to keep ceasefire on hold, as well as to move forward with regard flooding Gaza with humanitarian aid, with medical aid. They need everything, and we have to insist on Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, as well as holding the conference in Cairo for the early recovery and the reconstructions of Gaza. And we have extended an invitation to our brothers and sisters here in South Africa to participate in this conference. One theme, which is how to support our brothers and sisters in Gaza with regard to early recovery, with regard to reconstructions. And we must have this ISF, the International Stabilization Force, to be deployed on the ground in order to monitor the ceasefire, to make sure that the two parts, they are upholding to their commitments with regard to the ceasefire. So this is what we are trying to do. Now we have to move from phase one. Phase one is almost completed, you know, all alive hostages being
released.
And most of the bodies already returned to Israel. So we and some prisoners, Palestinian prisoners, have been released. So now we have to move to phase two, including withdrawal from Gaza, early recovery and reconstructions, as well as having a political horizon in order to talk about the realization of the Palestinian state in Gaza and the West Bank. One final issue is related to West Bank. We have to care about West Bank because the situation there is very bad. It's almost worse than maybe in Gaza because of these systematic attacks by the settlers against the civilians in the West Bank, the Palestinian civilians in the West Bank. So we need to stop all kind of those illegitimate attacks, as well as confiscation of lands, as well as settlement activities. So we have to be careful, and we have to focus not only on Gaza, but also on the West Bank.
Let's turn to the continent. Egypt, a very strong country in the Horn of Africa with lots of challenges there. Let's look at the Red Sea. Let's start there. Are you able to address the question of Red Sea? Because it borders on security, it borders on supply chain. There's a lot that is at stake.
I fully agree with you, because this is a very strategic waterways, and of course more than maybe more than 15% of world trade is crossing through the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, and there is no country which is negatively affected by the high escalation and the tension in this area than Egypt. We lost more than $9 billion net revenue of the Suez Canal over the last year because of the tension, because of the attacks, because of the high tension against the freedom of navigation in this very strategic waterways. So we are taking the lead now. We are coordinating with riparian countries in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden in order to de-escalate, and that's very important. And now there is no excuse for any non-state actor in Yemen to use or to exploit the suffering of the Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank for attacking ships coming through the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea. As you know, now there is no justification for that because we managed to have a ceasefire in Gaza. Secondly, I believe that we must address this crisis from its roots. We have to deal with the root causes of this problem, especially that we must deal with the crisis in Yemen. We must have a political process in Yemen. We must support the nation state, the state institutions in Yemen. And one lesson is to be drawn from the different crises in our region, that we must support the nation state and the national institutions. And we have to stand firmly against non-state actors. Look to Sudan, look to Mali, look to Burkina Faso, look to Libya, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen. The main common denominator is the same, that the weakening of the national institutions and the strength of the non-state actor. This is not sustainable. We must strengthen and support the national institutions in our beloved continent, in the Red Sea region. This is the only way to have sustainable stability. And again, one more issue here is to deal with the political crisis in the Horn of Africa as well, if we are serious about the stability in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. We have to address the crisis in Somalia and to stop external interferences. And we have to stand firmly against countries who are landlocked and they are imposing themselves and they would like to have a forceful military accessibility to the Red Sea. This is not going to happen, because this is against the international law. Governance of the Red Sea is only for riparian countries, for the countries who are overlooking the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. But for those landlocked countries, we cannot allow them, like Ethiopia or other countries. This is not going to happen because, you have international law and we have to abide by international law. And again, we have to stop the external interference in Somalia, and we have to keep the territorial integrity and the sovereignty of Somalia and of Eritrea, and not to have one country interfering in the internal affairs of those countries.
When we look at BRICS, now Egypt is part of the BRICS community, and that has strengthened BRICS. As Egypt, what are your observations since you joined BRICS? Was BRICS a good idea?
Well, absolutely, it's a good idea. Egypt is, super regional power like South Africa, and we have, of course, to be active and to join different economic blocs, and we perceive BRICS as an economic bloc, and it's very, very important. And I believe that we have high ceiling of expectations of what we can benefit from BRICS, especially with regard using local currencies in transactions, and also benefit from the development bank in Shanghai. This is very important to have concessional loans and to benefit the process of development away from conditionality, as we see in Bretton Woods institutions,
IMF and World Bank,
and World Bank. Also, encouraging intra-trade volume among BRICS countries. This is very, very important, but we need to do more, and also some initiatives like in AI, artificial intelligence application, encouraging young people, empowering youth in BRICS countries, digital transformation. Those are different ideas and the initiatives we have to encourage in order to move forward, as well as having a unified position by BRICS countries with regard issues such as the global financial architecture. We need to make it more democratic in the decision-making process. We needed to address the priorities of third countries, of African countries, especially issues such as finance of development, finance of green transformation, as well as dealing with the main issue which is hindering development in Africa, which is debts. The issue of debt is a big issue, especially not only for low-income countries, but also for medium-income countries. We have to address those challenges, and the BRICS can, of course, provide an excellent platform for that.